You are here because you want to write a example. Congratulations. So here we are, we're up to step 7. E, for example. Remember, I'm using Texas, not Peel. If you find this totally confusing and confronting and frustrating, go back to Peel. That's okay. I'm not going to read your paragraph and think, oh, that's not a topic sentence, that's a point. That's all right. The other thing you can do is, if you find this whole idea confusing, you can replace, you can go back to Peel and go P-E-E-A-L. So you still make sure you do your analysis, and instead of trying to link to another text, you link back to the question, which is what a statement does at the end of the paragraph. So I am encouraging you though to use Texas. I feel like it really strengthens your writing, and it really allows those of you who are strong writers to say much more interesting things and really explore ideas more thoroughly. So here we are. Question. Read it again. Essay. More essay. And the paragraph. You should be pausing any of those if you haven't actually read the whole thing. I'd be shocked if you are watching these tutorials and you haven't read the entire essay. That would be a bad thing, and that would make you a bad person. Right. Breaking down of the paragraph, we're up to the example. Lowry portrays Jonas's severance from the society as she writes. For the first time in his 12 years of life, Jonas felt separate, different, when he is selected to be the receiver. Second part of the paragraph, and let's break it down. Now, it's not so interesting starting 2 sentences in a row with the author's name, and I'm sure you guys can challenge yourselves to do a better job of that, but I did because I didn't want to change it. So yeah, it's the authorial intent again. She's portraying Jonas's severance. It's really good to keep doing that, to keep including the author's intent, but see if you can mix up the order of the sentence a little bit. Make it so that you're not starting your sentence with the same word each time. It gets a little bit droll. D-R-O-L-L, new word for you there. Severance, a very strong word to emphasize your point. You could just say, Lowry portrays Jonas's separation from society, or break from society, or changing view of his society. But the word severance severs something. It actually means to cut. So it's a very, very strong word, and it's your point of view if you include a word like that. From the society, as she writes, for the first time in his 12 years of life, Jonas felt separate, different when he is selected to be the receiver. Embed, sandwich, or integrate your quote into your own sentence. If you do not do that when you are trying to get a merit or excellence, then you need to, is what I'm trying to say. You've got to. If you just stick the quote at the end of your sentence, you are showing that you don't have a very strong command of your writing style. So remember, in order to gain a merit or excellence, it's about your writing style as well as your ideas. Your ideas are more important at this point, but your writing style is becoming increasingly important. And it's very difficult to be convincing to get a merit or perceptive to get an excellence without having a strong, articulate, sophisticated writing style. And so to me, embedding the quote into your sentence shows that you can do that. Now, of course, that might not work every time. There might be times where it actually is better to write it in a different way. And that's cool, that's okay. But don't do it every time. Don't stick it on the end of the sentence every time, because then you're showing that you don't actually know how to integrate it into your sentence. The other important thing, I didn't put it as a little tag there, but the other super important thing that the end of that sentence does when he is selected to be the receiver is it gives context to the quote, without which the quote wouldn't really make much sense. So remember, you've got a reader who doesn't know the essay, who doesn't know the book. You pretend that I don't know what it's all about. So you've got to give me these little snippets of information. When did she write that? How does it connect back to our question? Well, it connects back to our question because I'm talking about the actual turning point itself. So that is why my quote is relevant. So please try to give the context of the quote if you can. If you're trying to mix things up a little bit, then you could have written, say, when he is selected to be the receiver, Lowry portrays Jonas Severance from the Society as she writes for the first time in his 12 years of life. That would be an example of how I'm saying you just tag the quote onto the end, but it would be okay because you're trying to mix up the opening of the sentence so that you don't just begin with Lowry 2 sentences in a row. So it's all about finding that balance in your writing style. Do you want to write a different sentence starter, or do you want to show how well you can sandwich a quote into the middle of your own sentence? Fantastic. It is now time for you to write your first example, or your second, or your third, depends what paragraph you're up to. This is one of those times where, especially if you should be using a different quote from me, you should not be using that quote at all. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with actually having a look at the previous slide as you write your sentence, as you write your example, because it should have very, very little connection to mine. The only words that should be the same would be Lowry, and you might have the words Jonas, and then you might have connectives in there like from and the and it, but everything else should be different. So it might not be that distracting to have that slide in front of you. It might really help you to see how to structure your sentence so that it flows nicely with the quote in the middle there. Awesome. Write that example, rewatch any of this if you need to, and then it's time to head into your explanation.